How's it going, everybody, and welcome back to the Knife Doctor channel. Today we're doing something a little different. We're starting a new series. It's called Learn Knives. In this series, we're going to be discussing some of the basic concepts and principles of knives for people who are just getting into knives, people who are looking to understand more about knives. We're going to teach you here on Learn Knives. And this is episode 1. It is the basics of carrying a knife. Let's go. Hello everyone, I'm the Knife Doctor. Before we get started, I just want to say a special thank you to my first 10 subscribers, 10 plus at this point. I know 10 doesn't seem like a lot, but it means a lot to me, so thank you guys. And with that, we're going to get into it. So what are the basics of carrying a knife? Well, first of all, I think it's important to note that this is all in my opinion. And in my opinion, there are 5 basic rules that you have to consider when you decide to be someone who carries a knife on a regular basis. And I'm going to walk you through them. So, rule number 1, this is a simple one. Know your local knife laws. It is important to know what you can and cannot own and what you can and cannot carry where you live. Laws can be tricky, so know your laws and carry responsibly. Rule number 2, practice proper knife safety. This is a simple one. Don't put anything you don't want to cut or stab in front of the blade. It's as simple as that. Particularly your own body parts. Or, and hear me out, the body parts of other people. As my mom always used to say, never cut towards yourself. Rule number 3, define the purpose of your knife. This one sounds a little philosophical, but hear me out. If you're buying a knife strictly for self-defense, then its practicality for any other task should not be considered. You want a knife that's good at self-defense. On the flip side of that argument, if you're buying a knife strictly to do everyday cutting task, then a tactical knife is probably not what you want. The fact that it is a tactical knife and designed for one purpose means it might not suit you in the purpose that you're going for. It might look cooler, but it's not going to do the job you want it to do. Or maybe it will, it just might not do it as well. That being said, you can and should buy whatever you want. I mean, it's your knife. Buy something that makes you happy. However, bear in mind, there are plenty of knives out there that do both very well. Rule number 4, have a mid to high quality knife. As I said, you can and should buy whatever you want. However, in my opinion, you'll be more satisfied with a knife from one of those 2 categories. It's going to be higher quality, it's going to have better materials, and it's just going to make you happier to have it. I've never enjoyed holding, carrying, or touching a low-end knife. And I've had people come up to me and try to show me their knives, and I feel bad because I kind of mean about it, but I'm not interested. I won't touch them. They disgust me. Which is, that's a me thing. But I think you guys would be happier if you did end up with a mid to high quality knife. And mid-range knives, if you're worried about cash, mid-range knives are not that expensive. We're talking low 50s, maxing out at $100. And then after that, you get into high quality knives. And then there's another bracket above that are super high quality knives that it's too rich for our blood. But if you're having trouble trying to decide on a knife, next episode of Learn Knives is titled How to Pick a Knife. So tune in for that, and you might find some insight that'll help you pick your knife. Rule number 5, good maintenance and sharpening. Now this rule is key to your long-term happiness with your knife. If your knife's not sharp, it won't cut. If it doesn't cut, it's basically a paperweight. So if the first thing you do is buy a quality knife, the next thing you should do is buy a quality knife sharpener. I personally prefer a fixed angle style sharpener like a Spyderco SharpMaker. That is my specific one that I use, and it's my favorite one. And if you guys use one of those belt-driven ones that sits on a desk, those electric types, that's cheating, and it doesn't even do as good of a job. Some of them that they're coming out with now are, they're pretty good, but it's still cheating. On maintenance, just don't be afraid to take your knife apart and lubricate it every once in a while and clean it. It's not that difficult. You're probably going to void your warranty, but oh well. You were never going to send it all the way back to the company anyway, so don't pretend that you were going to do that. No one actually does that. Unless, like, the knife blade breaks off your first week of having it. But, yeah, just take the thing apart and lubricate it and clean it. And it's going to work longer and better, and it'll be smooth, and you'll like it. And finally, since 5 sounded better than 6, I'll throw this in here at the end. It's not a rule, just a suggestion. No, it's a rule. You know what? It's a rule. Don't use your knife as a pry bar. It is a knife. Cut things with it. If you use it as a pry bar, I can promise you it will fail at both tasks, being a knife and a pry bar. Pretty hard to cut stuff or stab stuff if you don't have a tip on your knife. And those are my 5 basic rules for carrying a knife. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys learned something. I had a lot of fun making this. Tune in for the next episode, episode 2, how to pick a knife. That's going to be a fun one. Hopefully there's some insight for some people on the fence about certain knives or trying to decide what kind of knife they want to buy. That should give you some tips and tricks on how to pick your knife. Thanks for watching, guys. It's been a pleasure, and I'll see you next time. We'll be right back.